Well, welcome. Welcome to the first morning of our 3-day fast. I'm fasting in expectation of a great Shabbat service this Friday evening at Gateway Church's South Lake campus at 7 p.m. I hope you can come. I'd love to see you this Shabbat. It'll be the first Gateway Shabbat service in 199 days. So I'm believing for God to really impact our lives. And I hope that many are joining me in this 3-day fast that I started last night at 5 p.m. and I'm going to go until Wednesday at 5 p.m. Basically, sunset to sunset is the idea. And the idea is that I'm fasting and praying for a great service for our Shabbat service this Friday night at 7 p.m. Now, how draconian should we be when we fast? How Spartan, how austere, how rigorous, how strict, how severe, how drastic should we be? Well, that all depends. There's a story in the Gospel of Luke of a woman whose name was Anna. Luke 2:36 and following says that this woman Anna was the daughter of Penuel of the tribe of Asher, and says she was very old. She had lived with her husband 7 years after her marriage and then was a widow until she was 84. It says she never left the temple, but worshiped night and day, fasting and praying. Coming up to them at that very moment, she gave thanks to God and spoke about the child to all who were looking forward to the redemption of Jerusalem. In ancient Israel, women typically married close to the age of puberty, which was typically around 13. It would have not been unusual for Anna to marry, say, at the age of 15, and possibly a year or two later, but 15 is a realistic number. Luke said that Anna had lived with her husband for 7 years and then became a widow, so she would have been about 20 to 22, say 22 years old when she became a widow. Luke said that she was a widow until she was 84. That means that she was a widow for 62 years. Over 60 years. And Luke 2:37 says that she never left the temple, but worshiped night and day, fasting and praying. Now, Anna could not have been fasting on only water for 60 years. She could not have been fasting on water and liquids for 60 years. Rather, the point of Luke 2 is that she had a lifestyle of fasting. And this is similar to Daniel. In Daniel chapter 1, verses 8 through 13, there's the story of how Daniel is basically put into the king's service. And Daniel decides that he does not want to defile himself with the king's food and drink. And so he asks the man that he is under, the authority over him, could we just eat vegetables because we don't want to defile ourselves? How long did Daniel fast by eating this vegetarian lifestyle? And let me just point out that what Daniel did should not be used as support for vegetarianism, because the Bible plainly says in Daniel 1, 8 through 13, that Daniel did this so that he would not defile himself with the king's food. In other words, for Daniel, this was a form of fasting. And we don't know how long Daniel did that. But we do know that many years later, when Daniel is an older man, in Daniel 10, we read about him doing a 21-day fast when Daniel again abstains from meat. So that first fast must have not been forever and ever, but he did it for apparently a season, a long season. But in Daniel 10, he abstains from meat, from leavened bread, and from wine. So Daniel is like Anna, in that they both lived a fasting lifestyle. Now, if you're joining me on this 3-day fast, I pray that you will enjoy the fast that you're on. Try to walk through this fast with this consideration. How can I make fasting a regular part of my lifestyle? That's what Jesus actually expected from us. In the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 6:2, he said, when you give, so he expected that we would be generous. In Matthew 6:5, he said, when you pray, so he expected that we would pray. I pray you have some great prayer time over this 3-day fast. And then he said in Matthew 6:16, When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do. The word for hypocrites is really the word for actors. Do not look somber as the hypocrites or the actors do, for they disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. Jesus said that fasting did not need to be something that leads to disfigured faces. Fasting can be a joyful experience. It can actually be an exercise in putting on joy. Fasting can be part of a vibrant lifestyle. It was for Anna in the Gospel of Luke, and it was for Daniel throughout his life. Yes, certainly fasting can be draconian. Certainly. It was for Paul in Acts 9. In Acts 9, Jesus met him on the road to Damascus and blinded Paul. And the result was that Paul entered an austere 3-day fast during which he ate no food and drank no water. And in the book of Esther, when Haman, when Haman plotted to have all the Jews killed, Esther and Mordecai, along with all of Israel, entered an austere 3-day fast during which he ate no food. They all ate no food. They drank no water. And the Bible calls on all Jews to offer a significant 1-day fast every year on Yom Kippur, which will be September 28th. I hope you'll join me for that fast. We understand that fast to be a 1-day fast with no food and no drink, no water. But most Jewish fasts are not draconian. They're not austere. They're not strict. For example, consider the 7-day feast of unleavened bread, which is really a fast from leaven. And during it, we eat unleavened bread. Perhaps the Lord is calling you to a more draconian, more strict, more rigorous, more severe fast. And if he is, friend, enjoy it, because that's what you need to do. You need to do what he's calling you to do, and you should walk enjoying it. But here's my point. Enjoy the fast that you're on. Feast on God's presence. Make this 3-day fast an exercise in joy. Friend, here's what I'm calling us to do. Make this fast an exercise in joy. Let's enjoy what we're doing. Let's enjoy our fast, and let's run with God. God bless you.